So yeah, Dios and I are currently working on bringing Doom for blind people.
Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, our professor sent you I think.
Yeah, I remember
that. So we are lucky we are invited as a student.
It's got that
It would be better if
over
you sit
there.
there. Yeah.
I know that there was a controller. There's something where it's really small that you hold on to.
Exactly. This is the so-called me handle, and this is the so-called it handle. So the me handle is who are you in the world? So this is the first level of Doom. I bet you remember this.
You hit the wall.
And so this is right now in a working state, so it's not fully fleshed out, but we would like to see if you can play through it. And we also prepared 2 pedals on the ground. They're now on the left.
Moved over. Well, they're way over here.
Yeah. So with the left one you can open doors, and with the right one you can shoot.
Oops. Is that as far as it goes? Okay, there we go. Yeah, I was like, how do I shoot?
Yes.
Okay. That's how you shoot.
And you can try it. And there should also be some force feedback if you want
I feel it.
And like if you turn the green one, you can also turn around.
Oh, I see. Rotate it. Okay. What is this one doing?
This one would point out to enemies if there would be anyone to be seen. But there was some bug, so we had to disable it with the new.
Use the wall. Okay, so this.
It's quite hard to play it with the screen, because the screen is a relative representation of the world, while the Doom level in 2D is an absolute on there.
All right. I wonder if I switch my hands. So weird. I wonder why. Like I'm pushing it forward, but it's not really going forward.
Yeah, you have to push it to the left to actually go in this direction, because it's absolute. So
oh, really?
if I show you, the map stays the same while you're rotating your plane. Yeah.
Wow.
So basically you're on the blue point.
This is the only way to play it.
Yeah. So for blind people, they only would experience the world in this. Oh, now you managed to glitch the out. So
outside the world.
Yeah, it's not completely fleshed out right now, but
see ya.
The new way of speedrunning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
you know the cheat codes for the game, right?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
So, and that's what Dios and I are currently working on, our master project in the university.
That's in level. What does it look like in 3D? Am I even outside the level? Or no?
No, right now the Doom guy is only following, trying to match the position. So right now we are facing the challenges to design the world for blind people.
Mm-hmm.
So actually something you are experienced in. So we wanted to ask some questions about that also.
Okay.
And
yeah, this is really hard to control.
Yeah.
Just because of how absolute, the control's absolute. And coming outside the level, right now, if I'm outside the level, I can't actually.
Yeah, being outside the level is one thing we're currently working on. That should not happen. There are still some edge cases.
Oh. Okay. Let me see. Okay, yeah, you have questions.
Yeah. How do you think that designing has to be changed for blind people in comparison to normal?
I have no idea. I mean, I've never tried to make a game for blind people because I make games with graphics. So I think that there are games like the Nightjar and stuff like that that are just audio games, where you can just play it by listening. There's no graphics, the screen is just black, and that is a different type of game. You know, there's games that use echolocation within the game world to let you know where you're at, and it's just all audio as well. But so that's like basically people have made audio games, but I haven't seen anyone try to make a game play visually and replicate the visual things with an interface like this. But I mean, I'm sure it's doable. I'm sure it's something that you could do. Is it more fun though? I'm not sure. You know, than a game that's purely audio. So yeah, I can't say. I mean, this would cost a bunch of money to try and to make one, to have somebody have one at home playing games. But you're also making software that uses any game to do it versus making a game specifically for this, which would mean that you had no games to play basically.
Yeah.
You know,
one of our desires was to like bring the games that sighted people can play to the world of blind people, so they don't feel left out. So moving on to a different point, did you ever thought that 8-second speed run on this level would be possible?
Yeah. Because we used to actually kind of do that a long time ago. On Doom 2, I could do it in 6 seconds. Not on the first level of Doom 2. This one I haven't tried to figure out how fast, but I've seen the video of, you know, how somebody hits the door and they back up and they get the maximum acceleration, go right underneath the door, and you know, all that to make 6 seconds. There's like for speed running, the thing right now is to calculate the minimum or maximum human speed, or minimum human speed possible. Like Mario, like Super Mario Brothers has like no human can go faster than this speed, using all the glitches that are in the engine and everything. And I think the fastest speed is coming close to that limit. But yeah, so people have done a lot of speedrunning science stuff. I think no, that's because of Fireball. I think that you could, if you did a game that was on rails, that was like an endless runner kind of thing, I bet you this would work out really well, because you don't have all these dimensions. You just have this input of what you're doing, and maybe you're just left and right, and you're always going forward. And then you could actually get something that is probably instantly more successful, you know, because there's already a constraint on the dimension that you're trying to play in. This is like kind of trying to tackle one of the hardest games, you know, game worlds possible. It's always good to start out really small and kind of go out from there based on what you've learned from the first constraint. So I probably would have tried speedrunning as something, if I was trying to do something that was motion-based, going down, you know, moving around, something along a line or something along, you know, you could do a line first and then you could do something that lets you go left and right, but you're always moving forward and hitting things. And you would start to memorize patterns the way that anybody memorizes, you know, Geometry Dash and games like that's patterns. And so it would turn into a patterning kind of thing, a memorization patterning kind of thing as you go through. I used to play Pac-Man as an example in 1980. When Pac-Man came out, I spent so much money on Pac-Man that I got so good at the game, I could play the first, I think, 3 levels without even looking at the screen. I could just talk to my friends. Just put a quarter in and just start it, just like talk to my friends and get through the first 3 levels, because I played it so many times, I created my own patterns. And you know, it's kind of like, because you're learning over and over again what works, and then you just memorize that and you just keep on going. And I think that if you start out that way, I think people would find faster success that way, and then be really turned on by it, because it's like, holy crap, this is a way to this is a way we could play games, you know, and I can't see, but this is a way I could play games, and these games are fun because it's just based off of, you know, maybe there's a rumble because something's coming up, and then you move left or right, but it's something that's not as difficult as as that.
Do you think that over time you have spent a lot of time in game development, that the challenges of designing games has changed, or is it basically the same?
This different. There's a lot of different kinds of games, you know, like that you could make. They all have different requirements for what you're going to put into it. It's like it's so open. The design space is so open that it's kind of up to the person who's heading up the project. What is the point of this game, and what do you want to put into it to support that point? You know, if it's going to be a really deep game, that means you're going to have a lot of information in it, and you're going to have a lot of design connected to that information. And if it's something just very simple, like Minecraft, you know, you're going to focus on what is the essence of that design and try to make that as good as possible, even if it's something very simple. You know, for it to be really successful, you have to just nail it. But even Minecraft being simple was a revolutionary idea, you know, just doing that. Cannonball, if you ever remember Cannonball, which is one of the first speedrunning, one of the first endless runner type games. It was on iOS, and it's a game that you could play without even looking at the screen. It's just a tap on the screen. It's just endless runner, but it's action packed. It's got amazing music. It's got glass breaking. It's got alien stuff slamming into the ground in front of you, and it's just like, you know, you're just like tap, 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 tap. You know, like you're just. And it's procedural too, so you like actually have to pay attention. But yeah, that was a game that could have been made in the 70s. You know, just like Angry Birds is from Artillery in the 1970s. You know, it's just like way better UI, way better feedback, sound effects, all that kind of stuff. It's just the evolution of an idea that's been here for a long time. So yeah, things keep changing. Just because people have different ideas, people make games, and it influences other people to make something, you know, better than that, or using some of those ideas, and that's how everything just goes forwards, is based off of stuff that's come before.
At the end of the talk, you said that one of your favorite games is World of Warcraft. Yeah. Are you more into the BFA current state, or are you more excited for classic WoW?
Well, I'd say the new stuff, because I played thousands of hours of classic WoW. I mean, I don't want to not be able to go see the tops of the mountains again. You know, like you can't fly here in the first zone. Like that was so amazing when Cataclysm happened and you could actually fly over everything. They had to remake it because there's no way they could show the horrible seams that you could never see before. So they had to clean everything up and remake the world. But it was really cool to just keep moving forward with the design, because to me, playing classic WoW, I've already done that. People who haven't done it, I would say go do it, because it was really cool. Especially because the critical path through all the zones in the games feels like you're finishing something versus getting blasted through it the way that like level 110, 120 is, where you have to get through a zone so fast that you complete a few quests and you've leveled out of the zone. Where back in the day, you went through all the quests almost to get through a zone, and you got the lore, and you knew, you know, who the bosses were, and just all the different stuff that you never would get now, because they need you to get. People have a limit on how much time they can spend getting to max level, and that limit has to stay the same no matter what the max level is. So that means that they are squeezing out all of the cool lore to just level you as fast as possible through all those zones, so you don't really feel like you know the world. You know, it's like if you're not, when you're playing a level and you don't see the same thing over and over again, you don't feel like you know the level very well. So in WoW, it's the same thing. If you don't go back and forth on all these quests over and over again, you don't have a good feel of like Elwyn Forest if you're in Alliance and stuff. And then you just get blown out into the Westfall, and you're like, I guess that was a cool zone. I don't know. You know, so I think it's cool for players who haven't done vanilla to go back and do that. But for me, it's interesting to see what they're trying to do with the new designs when they come out with the new expansion, because they have crazy design constraints. There's a pattern that people know, and they have to adhere to that pattern, but they also have to try and innovate in some way, and it's hard for them to do that. So I know what they go through. I mean, I've met the designers of World of Warcraft in their office and everything, and it's just like they work really hard to try and make the game interesting and adhere to the lore and extend it and all that stuff. So they have a tough job.
So thank you very much.
Cool. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
All right.